He's been in the news. I mean, like when I go on YouTube, that's all everyone's talking about Andrew Tate and the recent charges he faces in Romania. So tonight I'm going to do my take on Tate. Let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. This is Keith. Welcome to the Ghetto Sapien channel, your home of inner city intelligence. Andrew Tate is in the news, world class kickboxer, from my understanding. I don't really follow kickboxing. I didn't really know much about Andrew Tate. He's a British citizen, but he's been in the news recently for some controversial things he said. He was thrown off the social media for quite a bit of time, starting with Twitter. They closed his bank accounts. They made an example of that guy. I don't know if the punishment fit the crime, whatever the crime was, but this is before this news came out that his home was raided in Romania, and he was taken in under suspicion of sex trafficking. Now, I take note of that because it seems like raids are like the common way to shut people down. Happened to Trump, happened to everyone around Trump, happened to people who were pro-life. We had a pro-life preacher who had an FBI raid. So it makes me immediately suspicious, even though this isn't the FBI. Romania is a well-known corrupt country, so it doesn't take much, I think, for a phone call to be made from an interested third party to say, hey, go pick up Andrew Tate. So just call me suspicious. And look, I come by it honestly. Recently, we've seen Twitter, inside Twitter information that shows just how corrupt this government can be. And it's probably as corrupt as the Romanian government. So I really don't trust the government by default. They're guilty until they prove innocent. So when a guy they try to cancel, a guy they shut down his bank accounts, try to get him off social media, when he's back on social media, and then like a month later, he's also all of a sudden picked up on sex trafficking crimes, I kind of get suspicious. I don't know him personally, of course not. I haven't followed him a lot. I have listened to his videos. It's almost unavoidable now because it's all across the internet. I've watched his long form interviews, and he comes across as, say, like a cruder version of Jordan Peterson. A lot of guys follow him. A lot of guys admire him, which I think is not a bad thing. Guys need a strong male to emulate. So be it Jordan Peterson or someone else who has the best interest in mind, I think that's a good thing for society. Might not be a good thing for government, but a good thing for society. Personally, again, I don't know if he's innocent or guilty, so I can't say. But I think the biggest threat that Mr. Tate perhaps presents is not from what he said about women. Some of it's crazy. I think it's what he says to men and young boys. That is where the threat comes from. Here, I found a clip from Valuetainment, great source of information. Patrick of Valuetainment puts on some very good debates, so I think you should check him out. I hope I don't get dinged for copyright. I just took a bit of the interview. It was a 4-hour interview with Andrew Tate, but here's some of it.
At this point, coming up, upbringing, band, today, is there any specific belief system you follow?
I've written 41 tenets of thing I believe in, and if you hear any that you disagree
41 tenets.
41 tenets.
Interesting.
If you disagree with any of them, I would love to hear feedback on them. So these are the 41 things I believe in most. And before I read out this framework, it doesn't matter if you are a Muslim, a Christian. It doesn't matter if you're black or white, weak or strong. I think if any man lives true to these tenets, they're going to have a fantastic relationship with life. And also they're going to be a good force and good influence for people around them. And I think that all in all, they're going to enjoy their experience, their human experience, and the people close to them will also enjoy their presence. So that's what this is about. These are the 41 things I believe. So here we go. I believe that men have the divine imperative to become as capable, powerful, and competent as possible in this life. I reserve my human right to hold my own beliefs and practice them as I see fit and allow other people the same right to believe and act as they wish. I prefer loving, rewarding, consensual relationships with beautiful, positive, and virtuous women. I believe men and women are different and that each has their own unique and important strengths and abilities. I believe men have the sacred duty to protect and provide for the important people in their lives. I believe men have the sacred duty to protect the innocence and sanctity of their children and reserve the right and responsibility to raise their children as they see best to ensure their long-term happiness and success. I believe that men have the sacred duty to raise strong, capable, and honorable sons. I believe that men have the sacred duty to raise kind, feminine, and virtuous daughters. I utterly disapprove of violence within romantic or familiar relationships. I support good and honest governments and will obey their laws. I prefer to only conduct business dealings with trusted and vetted brothers. I believe that a man has the sacred duty to hold true to his word and do exactly what he says he will do. I believe that a man's life is difficult and that he has the sacred duty to become strong to handle such difficulty. I believe men are personally responsible for their actions and for the results they achieve in their lives. I believe in emotional control and the vital need to become disciplined and professional in all things. I believe that men have the sacred duty to approach everything in life from a position of strength. I believe that all men have the sacred duty to become men of upright and virtuous character and live above all possible reproach. I believe it is incumbent upon me to ruthlessly identify my own weaknesses and limitations, and I eagerly work to overcome them and become more capable in all realms. I seek to improve my personal freedom to think, act, and live true to my masculine imperative in all ways. I believe each man has a sacred duty to mold the physical body into the strongest, most resilient, and most capable version of itself. I believe that men have the sacred duty to rigorously train themselves, both physically and mentally, every day. I believe that I have the sacred duty to only eat the highest quality foods possible. I reserve the right to protect the sanctity of my bloodstream and make my own decisions about medical care and procedures. I affirm the importance of endlessly improving my mental faculties through diligent work, study, and practice. I believe in acquiring wealth and abundance in order to improve my life and do good for those I care about. I believe in the merits of healthy competition and constantly encourage all men to seek out competition to improve themselves. I believe that masculine brotherhood is essential to men's mental health, happiness, and success, and I relentlessly encourage men to meet together, train together, and work together. I maintain the trust of my brothers through reverent silence regarding our most sacred and shared experiences. I believe in honoring my ancestors and living in a way that would make most of them proud of me today. I reserve the right to administer difficult rites of passage for our young men to allow them to earn the rank of manhood. I affirm the importance and need for travel and adventure as men. I seek to help men overcome poor mental health through embracing hard work, physical improvements, and shared masculine brotherhood. I reserve the right to make the best choices I can at the time to protect myself and respect my mental health. I do good in the world and seek to help those less fortunate. I believe all men have the responsibility to lead and guide those they care about for greater health, prosperity, and happiness. I choose to only interact with those who are respectful and civil to me in return for my own respectfulness and civility. I reserve the freedom to speak and refer to others as I believe is best and most truthful. I reserve the right to choose my company and include only those whom I believe are best for my health, happiness, and success. I believe I have an imperative to only spend my time in a way that I determine is beneficial, uplifting, and empowering to myself and others. I choose to only allow myself to be influenced by those who I believe have my best interests in mind. And the final one, each day I dedicate myself anew to create the greatest possible positive impact on the world and do the work necessary to achieve a greater masculine excellence across all realms of human endeavor. Those are the 41.
Yeah, I don't see much of a problem with what he said there. He believes in self-discipline, self-reflection, introspection, and physical and mental health. Those are good things for young men to, I think, to follow, to work on themselves as individuals, to work together as young men, and to build relationships of trust and cooperation. Again, I think it's a wonderful thing. I think women would like to see more men that way, more men who are fit, who are confident, who are assertive. I think it would be great for society. Problem with what he says is corrupt governments need weak men. The people who would follow the tenets that you just heard, they would have a problem with the corrupt government. They need they're cannon fodder for wars. They need them for to keep the the machinations of the society, well, not society, of their comforts going. They need someone to make sure they run electricity, the plumbing is working, and things like that. But they don't need men forming families, because then stronger families make for a smaller, weaker government, and they don't want that. They like people being single, fat, and sad, and addicted to drugs and antidepressants and things like that. And if too many people listen to what Andrew Tate just said, too many men, that's going to cause a problem for a corrupt government. Again, that thrives on weak, undisciplined men. Because weak men are dangerous men. They really are. You need to do some research on that if you didn't know. Weak men will fall for any leader. And we have weak leadership now. You have cops who will ignore the Constitution and just follow whatever political edict is put out there. So those, like I said, that is weak male leadership. And hopefully this, if Andrew Tate is guilty, he goes to jail, as he should if he's guilty of this. Hopefully, someone else will step up to the plate and get these young men, give them something to follow. I don't think. Again, I have my suspicions about the concern over sex trafficking, because there are way bigger targets who seem to be guilty of sex trafficking by their own evidence that they provided, like say on a laptop, you know. So I don't think the sex trafficking thing is such a concern about these governments, foreign and domestic. I think it's being used in order to silence people, or at least to destroy their credibility. I don't think it's working in this case, though. I think people have become very suspicious of government, and rightfully so. So let's see where this goes. If Tate is not the vehicle to deliver this message, someone else will be. Again, I like to see vigorous and open debate. I don't like to see people silenced. I don't like to see the power of government used to shut people up. But anyway, let's just see where this heads. And that's my take on Tate. I'd like to see your comments. Like, share, and subscribe. This is Keith, the Ghetto Sapien out.